Is the time that I spend preparing classes the same as nurturing my personal practice?
The time that you spend preparing, organizing your class sequences will not equate to the time that you spend developing your own personal practice. It's two distinctly different experiences. Yet, I believe there's an illusion that we can fall into as yoga teachers where it starts to feel like that is the same. So we spend more time in the mindset of creation of sequences than the mindset really of being a student. So one of the misconceptions of, I think, our role as yoga teacher is that we are actually teaching and equipping students on how to be a student of the practice. So to know how to lead that kind of experience, you have to experience that yourself. So you have to spend time on your mat as a student, not in your teacher mind creating the sequences.
We need to spend time as students. It's an important part of being a teacher.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess one other little piece, and it may get to that I would highlight is that is your time that you're giving to yourself when you are in your planning mind and preparation for your sequencing, that you're preparing to give to somebody else, which is not a bad thing. But if you're not giving yourself the time of the experience just for you, with no attachment that I'm going to create this to teach the next class, I'm solely giving this to me, the gift, right, of being that student and learning. That's where it's just two different, distinctly different experiences. One's analytical, right? When you're planning and organizing, it's analytical. But it's that felt experience, and that's that place, that knowing place. Like if you ever heard like teach from the place you know, you're not going to know it unless you experience it as the student in the experience. It's what you're trying to equip and teach others, right? But you're not going to be able to teach from that place if you're never experiencing that place.
What if I feel like I don't have enough time to practice?
If you feel like you don't have enough time for your personal practice, then I'm going to say set an intentional time, appointment with yourself. It's accountability, right? Self-accountability. Can we go into yoga classrooms and invite and ask students to do what we're not willing to do? So if we neglect personal practice, it kind of shows up, or that's the underlying effect of that. And then setting the intentional time and the accountability means get intentional, set a specific time, set a new routine, do what's possible with consistency is something that I always follow in a lot of things that I do. So what is manageable, what's consistent, do the thing and commit to it and hold yourself accountable to it. Now, the beautiful piece is you think you don't have time for your personal practice, but what happens when you designate that intentional appointment time and you make it a priority? The essence of what is taking place in your personal practice, it just naturally flows into your teaching. So you're actually, just think about the value of spending that little bit of time in your personal understanding of the practice. The big return on investment and impact you'll make in the classroom, because the essence of right? You teach from a place you know, and people receive that, right? So the gift is the time you give yourself for the practice. And then in essence, not really, you just kind of freely, it just comes out and it's given back. So you end up seeing that time is well invested.
What if I feel like I'm bored in my practice? Like I just don't know what I want to do anymore.
If you feel like you're bored in your personal practice, then cross-train in your yoga practice. We hear that out in other fitness areas and things, but it actually applies to the yoga practice. See where you could explore. So you commit to your intentional accountability time in your practice. Well, why not choose one of those days to explore a different style of the practice, a different technique, in the practice. And then reflect on it and see how does that enhance, right, your kind of go-to style that you're used to practicing. Because boredom is really not relevant if you think about it as from inspiration. Maybe that's the catalyst, rather, that's gonna like pique some curiosity. How could I explore a different practice? I think about my first encounter with yin and the first conversations I had in my mind were, I do not like this. I'm a flow girl. I like to move. I like vinyasa. But out of curiosity, after that first encounter, I thought, I need to know more about this. So cross-training helps to support your ongoing pursuit of learning. And I love that it's a layered understanding that you're more approachable with students who possibly have a background in a different style. You don't have to love another style, but cross-training also helps support you in that boredom aspect, inspiration, approachability of understanding somebody else in their practice a little more. And it also, our bodies are so intelligent, right? And if we stay in a set way and rhythm, we move our body, right, because it's comfortable, right? It's what we think we like, we could lead to injury, right? So that's why cross-training is important. That boredom can actually be a signal of disconnect. And if you feel lack of inspiration, then consider how much time are you attributing to your personal practice time, your time, not time you're given to somebody else to prepare to teach, but the gift for you and the experience. And the beautiful thing is when we cross-train and we explore with curiosity something new, or maybe it's a new approach in your practice of how you've always practiced something, you're going to approach it differently. It fits into different seasons of our life, our experience, and it adds to the longevity of this work, this practice that we often hear. It's a journey, right? It's not the arriving, it's not the destination. It's what we're learning along the way. So if you're not committing to that designated personal time, it will have an impact on you personally as a student, and then in your ability to teach and equip others to be students of the practice as well.